Hello, everybody, on this live Saturday night on Quest. Hello, hello, and hello. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday today. I sure am. Unbelievable. And of course, we have Judy on the line. Hello, Judy.
Hello, John. Hi, everybody. Good to be here as always. You guys are keeping me going in this lockdown.
Yep, and of course, we always got to say this, Judy. Can they see us, or not see you, but see me and hear us? Hear us, see us. Okay.
I haven't picked up yet. So.
Don't worry about it. It's the normal delay. The normal delay. I have no responses yet. I get a lot of hellos. Just John on both. Tammy, so we're good to go. Judy, Tammy gave us the A-OK.
Oh, good. Hi, Tammy.
Hope you're feeling better today, Tammy. Be strong. Be strong. All right. Obviously, when we first start off my shows on Facebook and our YouTube, I got to give the premier shout outs to my paid members on the YouTube side, the ones that support me and this channel. It's Tammy and Annette and Elizabeth and the other Annette and Jazdia, Wayne, Starlene, Renee, and of course Judy and Barbara for the just continued support of me and my channel so we can do this thing on a weekly basis. And as Judy's on the phone, I talk to her live and I always tell her, Judy, I appreciate everything you do for me.
Thank you, and I love doing it, John, and I love being here.
Yep, we have a bunch of soldiers that are Templar soldiers, and it's Dana, Josh, Virginia, Jean, Cindy, Roxy, Becky, and they're on that soldier platform. And pretty soon we'll be able to buy some merchandise from me, probably in a week or so. I got to get that together, and it's not for everybody, but I got to give it a shout out to the people that give the most. You're welcome, Tammy. Hello, Ryan, Carl, Chris, Donna in the house. Curtis Burnett in the house. Jenny getting inky in the house. Becky Gilmore. We're all in the house. Starlene, Kathy Shoemaker in the house. Carl in the house. Wow, what a show we had Tuesday night. What a show we had Tuesday night. Hello, Frankie from Colorado. We had a good show, I think, Tuesday night as they're winding down season 8. Rumor has it the last episode might be in May. What was it, Judy? May 4th or May 5th. And there's Anthony. Good evening, Anthony. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for coming in. And we had a lot of little tidbits coming in Tuesday. That guy, Philip Stephenson, with the Cipher we're going to be talking about, how he decoded some of the symbols that look similar on the 90-foot stone that they showed. So that was pretty interesting. What do you think of that, Judy?
Oh, I thought it was too. I was surprised that they were going to bring this in right at the end of the season. But yeah, it's interesting.
Yep, they got to have them cliffhangers. They got to put a bunch of them around us, towards the end of the season. Hello,
yep,
Brandy.
Get ready.
Hello, Brandy. Hi, Pam Block. How's everybody going tonight? And also, don't forget, Renee's got that image album on our group. You guys make anything, you guys do anything Oak Island wise, send it to us. We'll post it in the album. Anything that you can do. And we'll post it up, inspired by the Fellowship of the Dig. We'd love to see it before the season ends. And always keep your comments and observations positive and respectful. This group is fantastic and respecting everybody's comments, no matter what they're saying, Judy, no matter what there may be things that are disagreements and stuff like that, but we talk it out and we're respectful. I just love that about our group, Judy. What do you think?
I think we got the best group of people ever, and they're so good to me to encourage me.
Yep. And don't forget, we're here to share and enjoy the diversity of the knowledge and expression. And of course, to exchange ideas with each other. This is what the group's about. And if anybody ever has any problems with any of my group members PMing you or doing anything off the ordinary, please send me a screenshot and PM that to me, and that member will be eliminated. Thank you very much. Hi, Danny. How are you? Hi, Daniel Spino. Thanks for coming in. Sharon from Ontario. Tim Punson. Hello, guys. Hello. Yep. And the YouTube side's going crazy too. Very good. Very, very good. Sharon Beecroft from Ontario.
She's been with us a while.
Okay. And of course, we have Judy with her synopsis for tonight. And what did you guys think of Tuesday night show? And then we'll get Judy on and get all the details.
I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding you right now, John. I don't know why.
Hello, Darlene. How are you? You can't hear me?
Sometimes I can and sometimes I can't. I'm not sure what it is.
Don't worry about it. They can hear you fine when you do your synopsis. Don't worry about me.
Okay. All righty.
We got to fix them phone lines from here to Ontario, Canada.
We sure do, don't we?
All my stuff is plugged in, powered up, and ready to go. So let me bring your picture up, Judy. And Frankie Lopez forgot to say hello to you, Judy.
Yeah, I see that. Hi, Frankie.
Okay, I got Judy's pictures up. I don't know if she can hear me.
I can, yes.
Judy, whenever you're ready, you're on. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everybody. It was another episode of More Questions on Oak Island. The Ball property has always intrigued me, and now it has me believing even more that Samuel Ball knew more than first thought. Lots to think about for this summer. It's morning, and while on the way to the swamp, Rick, Charles, and Doug call Marty to update the finds near the pathway the day before. They inform him that at 10 feet down, they dug up what looks like a piece of ship's railing. They decide to expand the hole to see if any more artifacts are there. They arrive at the swamp to find the team has set up a pump to get rid of the rainwater from the night before. Billy is removing the wet muck from the hole with his 30-ton excavator. Sadly, as he digs, the water keeps flowing in. Just as Billy brings into view a large wooden timber, the hole collapses inward. The team makes the difficult decision to leave this area till next year so they can put in the cofferdam, and Billy fills in the hole. Later on the western end of the island, at the Ball Foundation, Laird finds a hinge on the bottom of the massive cellar they have been working on. He then finds what could be a wooden doorway near where the hinge had lain. At the eastern edge of the swamp, while digging on the pathway, Billy finds more cribbing, and Aaron declares that something definitely went on here. While looking over the spoils, Gary picks up what looks like a wooden carpenter square. It will be carbon dated. Later that afternoon in the research center, Marty, Doug, and Gary examine the wooden tool. Doug has done some research and found it to be a stonemason's tool. It is a T-square used for making right angles. Is it Templar or Masonic in origin? Marty says find its date and what exactly it was used for. As always, he then orders Gary to go find some more artifacts. The next morning on Lot 25 at the Ball Foundation, Laird tells Rick, Gary, and David he has found what looks like a door embedded in the cellar floor. He says they will continue to excavate slowly. Gary examines the hinge found yesterday and believes it is a strap hinge from a chest. They wish Laird good luck as he goes back to troweling. It's afternoon, and in the war room, the team is listening to a researcher named Philip Stevenson lay out his theory. In papers belonging to his family, he has found a document showing symbols like those from the 90-foot stone, telling of a trip to Oak Island by the Templars during the 13th or 14th centuries. These symbols also appear on La Formule found by Zena Halpern. Upon deciphering the symbols, he believes that he has found an altar on Nolan's Cross. He also believes that by using that landmark, he has found where the treasure is buried near the site of the Barringer survey. The team decides they must dig there now. The next morning, the team drills at Mr. Stevenson's spot Z. They need to go down 40 feet. At 29 feet, they find hard dirt, which is what they would want over a vault. At 40 feet down, they find a ground-up boulder. There is 10 feet of it, so there is no vault here. This could, however, be a marker. They will now go back to Nolan's Cross to find the exact location of the altar. Later that afternoon, on the eastern border of the swamp, Gary's beeper goes off, and David digs up a long, broken piece of iron that looks like it could be part of a ring bolt. They take it to Aaron, and because it is covered with charcoal, he believes it has been in a very intense fire and could be connected to large timbers on a ship. It will be researched. It's the end of the day, and in the war room, the team is getting the results of the carbon dating on the T-square tool. Greg announces its dates to be 1632 to 1668, so it is pre-searcher. Marty says something significant happened on Oak Island before the finding of the money pit. This renews the team's hope for a find, as it does our hope too. Stay with it, everyone, and see you next week. As always, stay safe, please.
Very, very good, Judy. Unbelievable
Thank you.
precision and detail in your synopsis. And also, we want to give everybody a heads up on your COVID situation up there in Canada. Go ahead.
Yes, well, guys, we are in full lockdown right now in southern Ontario, well, all of Ontario. We are allowed to go to the grocery store and the pharmacy and the post office and to a doctor if you need to. Otherwise, we have to be at home. Our numbers are going up greatly with the new strain, and it's going to be a while. We're going to be at least 6 weeks before we are out of lockdown. So please think about us. You guys are keeping me going through this for sure. I'm so happy for John and this group.
You're very welcome, and all the members are supporting you. You have the support of 71,700 of us, Judy, so you got a big support system behind you.
Sure do.
And also, members, her synopsis in detail will be posted to the Face Quest group later on, so you guys can really take it apart piece by piece. And see what's going on there. And also, when I hear about Stevenson going off to the altar, that sort of rang a bell. Don't forget, when Gaetan did his book and I had him on as a guest appearance on my show, Judy, when they said Tuesday night an altar, I immediately thought of Gaetan because he said Nolan's Cross was made so they can build a chapel on the island. Do you remember that?
Right. I do remember that.
Hi, Michelle. Thanks for coming in. And Tom Burns, thankfully, no change or what he posted last week from an Atlantic Canadian for COVID. Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
But when he said altar and they went off the headstone of the cross, Judy.
Yes.
His whole promise was the altar position and altar location, correct?
Yes.
So when they didn't find it at the Z spot, they have to find out exactly where the altar spot is, or his translation from the Cipher. There's so many different translations. There's so many different things. It's very impossible to find out which one it is. That's why the team went there. Okay, you put an X on the mark. Let's go see if you're right. But it's the altar, and then Gaetan's book showing that the cross was like a foundation marker to make a chapel on Oak Island. Sort of struck me kind of funny, Judy. Struck me kind of funny.
Yeah. I had not thought about that, John.
And hello, Michelle. She came in the house. Thanks for coming in. Good evening, David Clore. How are you? And Todd, as they keep on coming in. So, Judy, I'm going to take your picture off.
Okay.
And we'll stay with me, and we'll get into some screenshots. As I don't hit the wrong button here. I still believe that. Hi, Candace from Delaware. You missed the synopsis, David, but it'll be posted in my Facebook group for you to read. I still say the Eye of the Swamp has something in there. I still say the Eye of the Swamp has something. I don't know. It just drives me crazy.
I'm 100% with you on that.
Yup, Jenny. Judy does a fantastic job. All right, ready? Let me pull up the first group of pictures here. Ready, guys? All righty. Like, I put up so many screenshots that I actually don't know what's coming up. They go in groups of 10, so we'll discuss each screenshot as we go through because I have no rhyme or reason what I'm doing. I just post it and we go from there. You up, Tammy? Well, here they are at Sam Ball's foundation, like Judy was saying her in Synopsis, and showing Marty or Rick that hinge part. And he dug out pretty good of a foundation there, Judy. Laird really went down, you know what I mean?
Sure did. I was surprised how deep they were.
Yep. They went real down to that cellar. But that's what he's been working on. So he hasn't been at the paved area, or he hasn't been anywhere else. He's just been concentrating on Ball Foundation, like he'll concentrate again on the McGinnis Foundation when we get to that, Judy. You know what I mean?
Right. And he can stay there because I want to know what's there.
Yep. I mean, the swamp, like I said before, I would use a swamp as a junk pile. If I had a bunch of land, I would throw everything in there, but the kitchen sink, and maybe the kitchen sink. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, exactly. I think anybody would if they lived on the island.
Becky Gilmore, I wanted to yank that door open so bad. And Todd, I find it strange they had not concentrated on the dig at the eye of the swamp. I have no idea what they're doing. I have no idea. And Chris Dona says, I think the wood was the door to the cellar. It had fallen forward to the ground. Yup, when the foundation frame fell apart, the door just plopped onto the dirt floor. I agree with you there, Chris. I don't think it's a door to a big root cellar. What do you guys think?
Oh, I'm with him on that. I hadn't thought about it.
You know what I mean, Judy? Like when the door caved in, it just fell on the cellar floor, and that's what they're finding.
Yes, I get it.
And I hope
Wow.
they prove me wrong, but we got to go by the science, Judy. We got to go by the science.
Yep, we do so.
Yep, Michelle. Ready? Let's go to the next picture. Mike Huntley's in the house. Mike, where have you been? Michael. Mike. I'm glad you came in. We still got to do a little program on C1. That C1 drives me crazy. Mike Huntley. Yes, Mike Huntley. Glad to see you back. You guys are probably getting busy now. Thanks for stopping in, Mike. As you know, Mike Huntley was the other diver working C1 and everything, folks. For the members that don't know. You know who I'm talking about, Judy, right?
I do. I sure do. Hi, Mike.
Yep, he sent the camera down to show the little gold pieces in C1, but it wasn't him diving down there that dropped the piece they chipped out. Mike wouldn't drop it, though. If he had to go down there and grab it with his teeth somehow, Mike would get it.
I was sure hoping he'd be going down before the end of this year, but it doesn't look like it.
You know, when they showed that promo of and Mike Huntley working on a few projects, when things slow down, I'll be here. Fantastic, Mike. We'll be waiting for you. Thank you so much. But, you know, when they showed that preview of that other diver dropping that gold-looking thing down or a piece of wood or whatever it was floating down, Judy?
Yes.
I would say towards the end of the year. Yeah, Mike Huntley. Hell no, I would have not dropped that coin. Yeah, I know, Mike. You would have grabbed it with your teeth or whatever you had to do. I love it. I know it. Hell no. You got that right, Mike. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thanks for coming in, Mike. I really, really appreciate it. That's what I like. People just jumping in, coming in. You know what I mean, Judy? I just love it.
Yeah, it's always a nice surprise, isn't it?
Yep. And what I was going back to, they got a promotion of showing next week about a gold coin or a copper coin. Did you see that promotion I put up in the group?
Yes, I did.
Wouldn't it be nice if they just vacuumed out C1 towards the end of the year?
That would be, yes.
You know, have the vacuum system tube go in there and then just suck it out to see if that gold-looking thing or that little piece that we saw, they can just suck it up. I mean, it doesn't take no diver. It just takes the vacuum machine to be there. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yeah, right. That would be easy enough, I would think.
Right, Mike. I know you got to get the okay, unless supervisor says differently. I know, Mike. You guys are all under the NDAs. I understand. We all understand. Hello, Daryl from Alaska. And Mike Huntley, I don't leave bottom until the job is done. You got that right, Mike. We got to get that C1. You got to get that bag down to C1 and get that stuff. Would love to see some coins. Would love to see some of them artifacts that were down there that we came up empty. Unbelievable. The C1's going to haunt me for years. Cheers, Mike. And Mike, yep, he did a great thing for a little member of us in our group. Mike had the little kid go to his diving shop. There's pictures in my group. He signed his mug, his coffee mug, and he brought him to the dive shop. This is how Mike Huntley is. Can you imagine that?
Oh, that's nice.
I contacted Mike. Then the parents contacted Mike, and he said, sure. And the kid went up there, His eyes were as big as boulders. To meet Mike Huntley, he put on his diver's helmet. Oh my God, Mike, I'll always thank you for that. I thank you so much, Mike. Talk to you soon. And that's the type of people that we have in our group, and that's the type of people we have to have more of. You know what I mean, Judy?
Exactly. And fortunately, the type of people in the fellowship.
Yep. And here's a picture of them sweeping that supposedly door or whatever's on the floor of the cellar. I got off track there. And there's a more picture of the door that fell onto the floor. I'm pretty sure they won't be kneeling on a opening that would cave in. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yeah, right. Okay.
It would cave in from the rot of the wood and just collapse right there. So there's another picture of this doorway that sort of, I guess, and like Chris says, just fell in when the frame rotted out and just fell on the dirt floor. But I hope the show proves me wrong. And again, we got to go with the science, guys. We got to go with the science. And that's why we do these screenshots. So all of us interpret, what's going on. So that's what I like about that too, Judy.
Yeah, and they're getting ready. They'll leave us hanging right there.
Mm-hmm.
Above that door.
Now here's that stonemason square. When I told people in chat, I used to have a piece of wood like this here with an angle on it to have string line on it. Because as a surveyor, you're always making elevations. Sometimes you got to do string lines and everything, Judy.
Okay.
And I would wrap like 100 feet of string line, which would be fluorescent, like a neon green, right, nice and bright. And I would wrap it around this thing and put this thing on the side of my belt just to hold the string line. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I mean, but this is before, they dated it so old, but maybe it's an older string line holder. I have no idea, but I just wanted to put it out there, what these things may have been used for. It can be anything, a number of things, but that's what it reminded me of as a surveyor, and I just wanted to put that out there. Yes, Michelle, it is wooden, yeah. You see what I'm saying, Judy?
Yes. Yeah, it sure looks like a square that my husband had years ago as well, that came from Scotland with his family.
Just weird, and it's dated so old. But then yet they had to have squares in the old days, so we're just lucky enough to find this one in the swamp,
Right.
But it could be anything, a square, a mason tool, like a tongue and groove thing to put into a old, somebody said an old wagon wheel chuck or something, that it's made that flat long plate piece goes into a groove to lock something in. You know what I mean by tongue and groove, Judy?
Right, I do, yes.
So this could be inserted into a tongue and groove, and the outside would be a handle to either pull it out, to let it go, almost like a gate latch. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Wow, that makes perfect sense, yes.
And Denise, hi, John. This is an interesting piece. Do you think it's some kind of pin? Yeah, that's what I just said. I think it's a pin to a doorway. Or to a locking, not a locking mechanism, but you put it in a slot and it releases something and you take it out and it lets it go. What do you think, guys?
Oh, I think it's certainly a possibility.
If it was a tool and it's wooden and it's in this kind of shape, that had to be protected. So if it was inside some kind of slid locking system, that would protect it. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, exactly.
Daniel Spino, with the date given, the suspects are the French, the Scots, and the English. My master historian, Daniel Spino. But I thought it was sort of like a tongue and groove. They slid it into something and then they took it out. So that's where my brain went. After I thought, it looked like a string line, that I would wrap string line around it. And my second opinion was not that it was a string line, but some kind of latch mechanism to slide something in, to release something, and pull it out to open it. What do you think, guys?
Well, let's hope we find out this year.
Anything's possible on the island, correct. But that's what we're here for. This is what the group's about to discuss. There's the picture. They say it's a mason's tool. They say it's a square. I say it's some kind of locking mechanism that slid into something because of the shape. If that was a square, that would be all worn down. A wooden square. You know how things get worn down just by handling it, just from the sweat from your hands. And if you're doing squares on wood and the wood pulp and the wood sweats, a wooden square wouldn't last long. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes. I think it's a good possibility.
Gary Nelson, thanks for coming in from Spokane, Washington. You know what I mean? So now we'll have to look up some kind of tongue and groove locking mechanisms way back when. And of course, this may be to lock a door on a ship. Everything's from a ship from the swamp. There's nothing from anywhere else. It's all from a ship. It's not junk. It's not nothing, but everything's from a ship. It's burnt from a ship and everything else. So I try to get off that mindset, put it in the back of your mind. It could be ship related, but then my brain goes all over the place. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes. Tom said it could be a gate, lock pin, or tailgate.
You think so? What about you, Anthony? It looks like a door bolt. Yeah, but what in the flat part? If that's going in and out and in and out, I don't see the wear on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
If that's used on a daily basis, 5 times a day, getting in and out, I also look for the wear factor. And it could have been something that a storage locking system that they didn't go in much, because if that's put in and out all day long, it won't be this kind of shape. And some of them put string lines on to make your building square. You have one of these on one side of your corner. You have a string line on the other one, say 50 feet away. And with that string line, and that's how you pile the rocks. That's how you build things to get a straight line in the old days. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right. Yes. I know. I've seen it done.
And I thought the masons dealt with stone and concrete. So it must be a mason's tool that could be hardly used. Obviously, it hasn't been used at all. Because if that was laid on bricks and stones all the time, that's in great shape. So that sort of went through my mind, of some kind of locking mechanism, or the right is just a mason's square. I have no idea. I just put that there. Hello, Virginia, on the YouTube side. Right, Tom. The condition would be how fast they lost it. They just gave it to you, and you dropped it 5 minutes later in the mud. Well, it's in new condition. Yeah, it's fun to guess the artifacts. Yep, that's what we do here. That's what we do. That's what we like to do. I hope it keeps your interest with me. Now, look at this picture, right? Look how worn it looks in this picture. Now, am I going crazy or what here? You see this picture, Judy? Did it come up yet?
Yes, it's there.
All right, you see it right then and there, right?
Yes.
Look at the condition it is right there.
It looks really different, doesn't it?
Now, look at it there. Yeah, we need to find a crystal ball, Tom says. Oxidation. So that sort of caught my eye. The way they showed it here and the way they showed it there. I said, is this the same piece? Now that looks all worn and everything else on the inside. You see it?
Yes, it does.
So am I going...
At the top, on the top at the left, could they have taken a piece of wood there for testing?
That's what I think. Yeah, that's why it's brand new. That was the carbon testing on that spot. I mean, I don't know, Judy. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? They had to take a piece of wood from someplace to test it. So I think that it almost looks burnt. Yeah, Tom, I don't know. So I put that out there, drying out. Who knows? But it's the same piece, Anthony. It's the same piece. So this stuff makes me scratch my head, guys, more and more. And this is an overhead shot of Sam Ball's foundation and property. And Todd says, I think the condition looks worse once the mud was cleaned off. Yeah, obviously. Yep. When it's drying out, yep. When we first saw that first screenshot, that was right out of the mud, Judy.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Until they clean it up, until we see it. And that's possibly where they took the piece off. Yeah, Anthony, I think so. That was the testing piece. You know, when they got that 1633 to 1668, whatever it is, these dates. Oh, my lordy, lordy. And here's Laird's, they put that measurement stick when they take photographs, the archaeologists. And here's a more bigger picture of the fallen doorway. Obviously, if he was walking on it, like I told Judy, he would fall right through it if there was an opening. But I hope they prove me wrong.
I hope so too, but I got a gut feeling they won't.
And here they are. That's how wide it is. That's a pretty big door, though, really, to go down in the cellar, though. You know what I mean?
It is, yes.
And our last picture of this group is that's the hinge they found that fell off the door when the door collapsed onto the cellar floor. See that, Judy?
Yes, now I do. Yep.
The hinge. The door had to have hinges on it, obviously.
Right.
Alrighty. Before we get to the next slide, anybody want to say anything yet so far as we get to the next group of pictures? Could have been a small door, like for a crawl space to the cellar. Yep, Tom, could be a small door. Obviously,
didn't Gary also say it was a hinge for a strap on a chest?
Yeah, they always got to say that. The old treasure chest strap. Yep. They didn't find 2 or 3 of them. They just found that one.
Right.
No, they didn't find the door handle that they showed us, Caroline. We only go by what they showed us Tuesday night. And that's what we're going over now. And if he was a cabbage farmer, he had to have a root cellar to keep the cabbage cold before the ships came to haul it away. Obviously, there was no causeway. So how did he get this cabbage of all these acres of land he had farmed off the island? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I don't know how many times the boats would come there or a barge would come there to get the cabbage off the island. I have no idea. But you got to put the system in place. You got the cabbage. You got to harvest the cabbage. You got to keep it cool before the ship comes. And that's what goes through my mind. And Tom says would likely be a wooden latch. Yep, everything wooden. You got that right, Daniel.
For sure.
You got a good cover, Daniel. He's got a good cover. Yep, Pam. I don't see any other buildings around that could, like a warehouse building, not a warehouse building, but a big stone foundation that he would just keep the produce there. But yet, what do I know? Kathy, did the ball keep a diary? I have no idea. Here's somebody that said about wharfs. He said Sam Ball had 2 wharfs going off his property, and obviously that was to unload the cabbage. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, exactly. I'd have to have.
I mean, how are you going to get the cabbage off with no causeway? You have to have a long wharf to get his produce, supposedly produce, off the island. And this guy, I don't know who this guy is, but he's from up there, I guess, pointing out where the 2 wharfs are. And I don't know who dove and found the wharfs. They were like 90 feet off of shore.
Mm.
And Chris says if he did have a diary, his butler was given everything after his death. Yep, Chris. Now, here's some of the cipher from Stevenson, how he figured out how to put the X on the 40-foot marker. It says second distance, 40 feet, depth from marker. And this is where they dug the Z in Daniel Spino. Those were the date to the early 1800s, right? And Tom Burns says, yeah, there was no causeway. Everyone would have a wharf. Yeah, correct. How the heck? I agree with you 100%, Tom. And Daniel. And this is part of the map system that Stevenson gave the fellowship in the war room. But then, like I'm saying, the interpretation of the cipher, there's so many of them. There's so many different things. I mean, you got to chase it. If he came up with something like this here, I would chase it myself. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, for sure.
I mean, it's nothing for them to drive the drill machine over to a spot. Steve Gupple can just GPS it, and there it is right here. It's not like you're measuring here and there. He gets his GPS, he gets the coordinates, and he puts the X on the spot, and the drill goes over and drills it. Just as simple as that. And there's that big burnt, he says broken eye bolt that went through a lot of wood. Some people say it's an extension arm to a fireplace pit that holds a kettle. That's why it's burnt also. Feels like I was talking to Tom Burns. We got fire pits. We got fire grates. And we got these fire looking extension rods. You got to put all the facts together. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, for sure. It's hard to tell what it is.
And Michelle says, I don't believe it's a broken eyeball either, Michelle. I think it is an extension arm for a fireplace. But again, I hope they prove me wrong. And obviously, this wouldn't be on a ship. They wouldn't have a swinging fire pit, not a swinging fire pit, a swinging arm on a ship. I mean, everything on a ship has to be contained. Even,
right.
On the ship, they would have that thing like Gary found, that little opening to a pot belly stove. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, exactly.
So they even found parts of a pot belly stove. They found this thing, and it just looks like it was people got to eat, and it's awful cold up there a lot of times. So we'll see what happens. But Carmen says it's off a ship. So here we go again.
Yeah.
And Pam says, too long for an eyeball. It would snap in several places. Yep. What do I know? So that's our opinion out there. And back to that other picture, you can see the 2 points there that the, I think this picture's from 1929 map. I'm not sure. That's where the wharfs were. That we'll hear more about it this Tuesday night. I hope.
Yes, we hope.
And then this is going to be from next week's also about the cribbing stones or the pathway. It's 90 feet off of shore from Sam Ball's property. You can see all the boulders going out underwater. Frankie Lopez could be used with oxes to help with the gold loading to the money pit. Yep, could be anything. Could be anything. And there's this piece of whatever it is. Of course, they called it gold. And they walked into a room, and Judy, I think my brain went to, wait a minute, did they vacuum out C1 and pick up this piece that fell in C1? Because I don't know where else this can come from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was wondering too where it came from.
You know, I guess the guy said, we found this, but of course they're not going to tell us where. So the only thing I can think of, they vacuumed out C1 and they got the thing that fell down. It was coin looking or not. That's my own personal opinion. But I was just trying to figure out this kind of shape, and maybe it's a copper coin. I have no idea. Are you up, Tammy? So that's what I was thinking, Judy. Maybe they did vacuum out C1, but I'm not sure. That's just a stab in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Because unless somebody out there can remember hearing where it came from, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I try hearing over the promo because they walked into a room and these people showed them this, and that's all I got out of it, you know?
Okay.
It sure does look like a round rusted or gold or copper coin to me. No,
Yes.
they didn't, Michelle. Tom, they're probably still washing debris from the canisters. Yeah, who knows? I don't know what they're doing up there. They're still finding things in Dan's office. So what do you think? You know what I mean? Me and you would have been through it. Like I said before, we'd have boxes of pizza and a 3-month beard going on looking through that stuff. Brass button. Could be a button. Yep. Scott Lonsbury, thanks for coming in on the YouTube side. Wonder how deep the water is at the rocks. It would be 6 foot shallow back then. Yeah, the Smith's Cove was 6 foot below sea level when they did it. And you can see a round red circle. Can you see that on the bottom? On the island? Yep, that's where Sam Ball's property is down there, where his wharf was.
Oh.
Maybe a medallion, Brandy. Yeah, it could be. Could be. And there again is showing them points. And that's where they dove. I guess we're going to hear more about that Tuesday night, Judy.
I hope so.
And
I'm ready.
We also got to find out, Tony Sampson got the metal detecting hits. We're still waiting for that. You know what I mean?
Yes. I don't know if we're here.
Because if we only have 2 or 3 at the most episodes, who knows? You know?
Right.
Okay, and I think this is the last bunch of photos. Hope I'm not boring you guys. Am I doing okay?
You're doing just great. As always.
Here's how Stevenson came off the face of the rock. He was calling, the face of Nolan's cross here. Hello, Jake. Thanks for coming in. lot of things up in the air. And don't forget to go to see Jake Roberts' Ghost of Bacon tomorrow night at 7 p.m. on his YouTube channel. I support him 100%. Let's get him some members over there.
I'll be there.
And here's where Stevenson came up with his measurements off of the face rock on Nolan's Cross. That he said that's where the altar is. So we're going to have to help him out and make sure we know where this altar is. You know what I mean, guys?
Yes, for sure.
The whole thing is made from the altar. Now, if the altar location is off, well, it makes everything off. We're gonna have to get Erin on this. You know what I mean, Judy? She's the map expert with all this other lines and feet and everything.
I'll bet you she's on it already.
Yep, she's the best. But just to determine, if you're going off a point and you're not sure where the altar is, how are you going to find the determination of where the vault is if you're not sure where the altar is? You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, Pam, I have no idea what they mean by an altar. You know, the middle of the church, the head of the church, I have no idea. You're welcome, Jake. You got my support. You know that.
Usually the altar is at the front of a church on the inside.
Right. So how do you determine on the cross to come off the face stone? I'm just saying, how do you get from altar to the face of the stone on Nolan's Cross? It could have been the bottom stone or cone E, you know, the bottom one, the last stone. Could it not?
Right.
I'm not sure, Chris. I'm going to have to watch the program again, how we got it that far. Jake Roberts, the altar in the Masonic Temple is at the center. Okay, there you go, guys.
Oh, thanks, Jake.
But that's not the center of the cross. Well, yeah, the cross, you know, where the crosses. Yeah, I guess that's the center. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
Well, I think it's possible.
If so, I'd go off each rock. Eliminate the elimination. Go off of each boulder.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. Drill 6 holes. And Darlene, I've heard others say perhaps the altar is the eye of the swamp. Yeah. So here we go. Round and around we go. Just unbelievable. And this is how he deciphered and had some text in English. Distance from the altar. Heading from the altar. I mean, we need him to get on here maybe and explain how he broke these words down. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, that would be great.
Yup, Daniel. I hear you. You know, the second distance. Now, how does it get second distance out of the circle and the dot and the slash and the dots and the angles and the, you know what I mean? I wish they would give us an explanation to how he deciphered this number 1. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, that would certainly be interesting. He obviously used what was on the paper he found in his family's papers.
Right. Yeah.
But didn't go into it at all.
Didn't go into it at all, sure, and didn't do anything. We don't know what the heck happened. Hello, Elizabeth on the YouTube side. Thanks for coming in. Yep, Jane, we don't know which way to go here. You got to keep an open mind until they can prove it that it is. We're still bouncing around. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
And they'll keep bouncing.
You know what I mean, Darlene? It's odd that he didn't show the actual symbols translation. Yeah, like show us, you know, okay, how did you get, like the circle and the dot is an E, and the circle and the dots are a G or whatever. But maybe that's not show worthy. and we don't get to see that. But it's interesting. Otherwise, they wouldn't put it on the show. You know what I mean?
Right. Jake says when writing ciphers, you wouldn't group the characters in words.
Yeah, Jake, I was going to ask you these questions tomorrow. I know you're doing a bacon. I don't know if I'll be around at 7 o'clock. I might have to go to see my parents tomorrow. But you can screenshot these things, and I sent you the total map, and maybe in a couple of weeks, maybe you can see how he got to it, because I don't know if I can get him on for an explanation. What do you think, Jake? Or did I give you too big of a project? He's the cipher man, Judy.
He is, for sure.
Because we got letters underneath the cipher symbols. So that would be good to do. Me, I couldn't do any of this. My brain's too fried. Distance from the altar. Solar azimuth heading. Now, how does he get that off of that? I will, Tammy, I will. Jake says he laughs. I can take a look. Thanks a lot, Jake. I did send you a screenshot in the PM, Jake. I don't know if you got it. I'll send another one. And here's where they come off of Zena's information. He posted that on TV there. And this is what I sent you, Jake. This screenshot here showing everything he deciphered. And this is what they showed on the TV show Tuesday night. Or anybody else out there that can take a stab at it. What symbol, what letter corresponded with what symbol? Because you got the writing right there. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, for sure.
Even though said he got it from his family,
Yeah.
I have no idea, you know?
Exactly.
I don't know. It just fascinates me, the stuff that they can get these wordings out of it. You know what I mean?
It really is, isn't it?
Navigating from the altar, which he said was the face of the rock of Nolan's cross. Minus 21 degrees. Yup, Pam, it was found in a book. The back part of a book that was given to her from another researcher. And this is how they got that. North 24 degrees and the 522 feet, which gives 124 degrees. And boom, the 522 to 1,065 feet to the Z spot. To the Z spot. And that's where they drilled. And we came up empty. Now, if I can find that other picture. It was too bad that the swamp was so smucky that they couldn't get a piece of that wood with the bucket or some kind of wood piece before they covered it up. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yeah, that was really disappointing, wasn't it?
You know, just a piece. That's all we needed was a piece for a date, you know?
Exactly.
Let me see if it's in here. Hang on, guys. I'm going to go through this a little quickly. Yep. Michael, the original was French, according to the gentleman the other night. Yep. Let me see if I got the picture here. That's the piece of the small, smooth railing. Maybe, Michelle, maybe they did grab a piece. I'm not sure. There's where they think it was opened up. And there's the hole. And there's how they did the seismic testing in the swamp. There's the anomaly. There's the anomaly. There's a small piece. There's the hole. There's the hole. And nope, that wasn't it, Judy. Some things I forget to download to be live, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do well.
But sometimes I do it in the group, and then I forget when I go on live, Judy. I says, where the heck's the pictures? I did it on the Facebook group, but never downloaded it to my live presentation. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad you know what you're doing anyway.
Yeah. Now, here's a picture of, you can see how far in the tractor is. You see the excavator in the swamp? That's how close they are to the edge.
Okay, yeah.
Real tiny excavator. You see it right in the middle of the swamp there.
Yeah.
There's a small paved area. And this is how close they are to the road. You see that, Judy?
Yes, right on it, really.
Yeah, and there's no way that that anomaly is even close to this excavator. So it's either a support system. Just imagine that road not there and just the ocean coming in, the bay coming in.
Right.
So whatever this support system is to hold up a wharf, these big logs, or these big logs washed over from Smith's Cove, because where'd all that wood go? Where'd all those structures go? You know what I mean, Judy?
Right, exactly.
And the storms we get here on the east side, the northeasterns, I mean, they could whip around the island and it just goes right into this swamp area, you know?
Right.
Darlene, it's going to be terrific next season for the show. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they had smaller pieces from the hole to test. Yep. The railing, I guess, was in the beginning, right? The smooth ship railing was in the beginning of this hole.
Yes.
Jane, you're getting ahead of me. How do you know what I'm talking about, Jane? You got ESP or something? Jane just said the small paved area was where they wanted the permit to do the cofferdam, but now it seems they want the cofferdam in this new area. Well, guess what I was going to talk about, Judy?
Okay.
I would say to them, not only do the east, lower, southeast side of the swamp where they want to get all the muck out, they might as well go right over the wood part. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right. Get it all.
You know what I'm saying? So I'd say this made them expand their cofferdam. I don't know, they'll have to make a temporary road to get around it because there won't be no road for 150 feet maybe, you know?
Right.
But I think this opened up their eyes when they found them big pieces of wood to not only do the lower part of the swamp on the cofferdam, but to extend it off to this lower area. And why not just extend it farther and have it go over 50 feet of the anomaly? You know what I mean, Judy?
I agree 100%.
So not only dig out the small bottom part with all the muck, not only dig out the big supports or beams that they found, let's go that extra yard and take a chunk, maybe, even 25 feet of the anomaly, go right over that because they already drill tested it. So I guess they didn't come up with no wood or anything when they had that floating drill platform in the swamp. So they know where they can do it safely. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, exactly.
And if they do this cofferdam, how will they get to the money pit, Smith's Cove? They'll have to put a temporary road or go by up on top Fred Nolan's road. That's how they get to the money pit. Go around the other side. Everything's temporary. You know, that's all have to do with permits and everything. So they have it all figured out. Steve can lay it out exactly. Yep, Tim, they go right through them. When they put this cofferdam in, they go right through whatever it has to be done. Rocks, boulders, wood. It just vibrates it right through. Laird Niven can get permits from the province, even underwater permits he can get from the province for 2 or 3 weeks it takes. As long as he can show a great cause, there's no problem. Yep, Tom. That's what they're battling with now, but all the cost of this stuff, if they do the dam, if they do the cofferdam, if they do the big dig, wow, just tons and tons of money here. Hello, Gwen. Thanks for coming in. We're on YouTube, if that's where you're catching me, or on our Facebook group, Quest of Oak Island. Yep, Tom. If you're going to do that much, let's not do sections of the swamp. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right on. The eye included.
Yep. They could cut the ship in half. Well, that's the chance they have to take. What about the hammer grab going down and just grabbing things? What about a 30-ton hammer grab just going down a caisson?
Right.
So I think doing a cofferdam is nothing. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
Jenny says, at least with the cofferdam, if what they're finding is the original dam, they don't have to worry about water washing out the entire swamp. Yeah. But there's a lot of possibilities in here that is costing millions of dollars. So, and I'm saying there's a lot of things going on. We have the swamp going on. We have the Money Pit Big Dig going on. We have the McGinnis Foundation going on. We have the Behringer survey going on. Holy schmoly-oly. You know what I mean, Judy?
Yep, and Samuel Ball's property too.
Yeah, it just keeps on going and going. And we're in season 8 over. So there's a.
They were there 2 years before they started on TV, weren't they?
I think more than that, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying if it was up to us, of course, we don't have to pay for it. And that's why they're doing the exact drilling in the money pit to try to narrow it down so they don't have to open up a whole big $25 million big dig. Maybe they can have custom caissons of 15 foot around and just drop those in a pinpointed area if they come up with some proof that there's something in there from a drill hole. You know what I mean?
Right. That's certainly the way to go.
Yep, Daniel, and the eye and the mercy point. Yep. But then, like if Aaron says, if they do that and actually pierce a vacuum sealed chamber that's sealed with blue clay, it would just blow everything wide open. You know what I mean, Daniel? Yep, M&M, there's a cave someplace with that blue clay protecting. You know what I mean? It'll break the seal. You know, Judy, they got to watch out. They're just drilling all over the place, and who knows at this point.
Right, exactly.
But of course, the minute they find something, a piece of gold or a piece of something, all operations stop. And then they can concentrate on doing it the slow way and to protect whatever they can find it.
Right.
Michael, Laird said on Facebook earlier today they won't decide where a cofferdam will go until they are sure they're not going to destroy our finds. That was said in response to a question about the cofferdam probably slicing the ship in half. Right,
Oh,
Laird. Slicing the ship in half. That's if there is a ship and not just wood supports. You know what I mean, Judy?
right, exactly.
This is
We
all
still don't know what's there.
right. This is all on the assumption that it is a ship, period. But we don't know until they dig it out. You know what I mean? So dig a test hole. Somehow get a temporary support system to hold the muck away, and they can drop these steel walls as they go down. So the muck hits the steel walls, and you just keep on digging down, and you keep on putting sections of steel walls together. They're temporary, not like these cofferdams that you pound down with the vibration. You know what I mean, Judy?
Okay, all right.
They'll have to make some test holes to keep the muck away and go right over the ship thing. They know the depth is between 10 and 50 feet. You go 10 feet, you find nothing. You go 50 feet, you find nothing. Well, this is where the cofferdam's going. You know what I mean?
Right. Makes perfect sense.
Yep, David, been watching for 5 seasons. These past 2 seasons have been the best. Yeah. All this archaeology and all this information we're getting. And of course, we're looking for a tunnel from the swamp to the money pit or a chamber. Condensed muck. Yep, Starlene, you got that right. And just to show you where they are, and the ship anomaly is way to the left and up. And there's the final shot of Sam Ball's property. Laird has done a lot of digging with a pan and a whisk broom and a trowel. Yup, Tim, just have them big pumps going in them holes. The big water pumps sucking that water out faster than it's coming in. And even use Gary's fancy big machine. Yeah, Michelle, we got to see that in action. We got to see that in action. Unbelievable. Well, we talked about the new cofferdam setup. That was the last thing on my list. If you guys got any questions, I'm going to put the phone number up. And if we do get a call in, like usual, Judy will get off and then come back later for her goodbyes. But if nobody calls in, we're out of here.
Don't forget, guys, you got to let us know by chat that you want to call in.
Right. And lower all your volumes on your phone and computers. Turn your volumes off if you do call, because we get all kinds of feedback. So turn your volume off on your phone or your laptop or your desktop when you call in. And give us a message in chat if you want to call in. Judy will get off, because I only can accept one call at a time. I thought it was a great night tonight. What do you think, Judy?
Oh, I think so. I learned some things for sure. I was thinking that door led to something below it. Now I know it doesn't.
No, I think when it rotted out, it just fell off its frame and fell on the dirt floor and rotted right where he's finding it. Let's see here. Yep, everybody's going with the eye of the swamp. Of all the places in the swamp, yep. Because of that wood they found is too close to the opening of the swamp, and I think that was just some kind of support system there.
Yes, I agree.
And Jane, I would love to know if they think the vault is really a vault, that has been suggested but not proved. To me, it's a big factor in whether or not to continue the big dig. And they're going by Chapel's vault. When they put the drill bit through the concrete in the vault, and they come up with the parchment. You know what I mean, Jane? You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, for sure.
And that's why
And there isn't. Yeah.
Go ahead.
That always worried me when they were digging with the claw down there. What damage did they do to that vault if it's there?
Yep, lots of holes, Judy. Lots of holes. Or what they say, it could have been some sort of concrete on top of the vault and bits of gold. So that's what they go by when they say they're going for the vault. Proof yet? Nope. Daniel Spino, my master historian. John, in your opinion, do you think the money pit was made for as a diversion? You know what, Daniel? If I had a religious treasure of such importance, would I point to all directions to where I buried it? Would I leave a tackle box above a tree limb? I also think the treasure is not in the money pit area, but one that is in the swamp and other areas of Oak Island. You heard it here.
I agree, John. I think we need to look at the Mercy Point.
We need to look at Mercy Point. We need to look at the eye of the swamp with all the blue clay that's all waterproofed. And Dr. Spooner said it was disturbed in the 1600s. Why is it disturbed? You know what I mean, Judy?
Yes, exactly. Oh, there's so many questions.
And if I had religious artifacts that I wanted to start a new religion or whatever they wanted to do when they brought it over here, I would not bury it 180 feet deep because I got to get it out of there when they start the new world. Yep, Daniel, look at the least suspected area.
Yeah.
When Dr. Spooner says something was done in the eye of the swamp at 1680, you got to go by the science. The money pit is Swiss cheese. Probably over 2,000 holes, 50 shafts. What have they come up with?
Yeah, nothing.
In this day and age, what has they come up with for over 225 years? It's sort of telling them, okay, there's all kinds of shafts down there, sure, because everybody's searching at the money pit area.
Right.
Over hundreds and hundreds of years. You would think by now, with this technology, that they would either found something or not. Yep, we're finding maybe depositor wood that's been aged that long ago, but that doesn't mean a treasure is there. That could be searcher.
Right.
I would say I would concentrate on the swamp, dig this thing out, and if it leads to another chamber, supposedly maybe to Nolan's Cross or towards the money pit, towards the money pit, I would be shocked. But going towards Nolan's Cross, somebody made that cross. You understand me, Judy?
I sure do, and I think that cross is the answer.
Because who the heck's going to move 10-ton boulders, put them in perfect alignment, like Chris the Starman Dona says, and he says it's Bacon's cross. Who's going to do that? Just for nothing? You do that for nothing? Okay, let's make this big cross on this island. Why? Well, I don't know. I just want to make a big cross on this deserted island and just leave it there for mankind to see. Now, does that make any sense?
Not at all. There's meaning to it for sure.
Okay. Because I guess Fred Nolan did dig under some of the rocks and didn't find anything. And drilled. I had pictures on my group page that he did drill around the rocks. But that doesn't mean nothing. A proper excavation is you go down and down and down until you get to the till and then figure out what's going on. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right. Exactly.
And Daniel says, I'm suspicious of the other side of the island, too, as an entry point. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how many times you're going to dig in the same spot? You know what I mean, Daniel? That's all you're going to find is other searchers' materials, other searchers' slop, and so forth. So I would say dig this swamp out, get some answers, try not to destroy anything if it's there, go slow. And if it does lead to a tunnel, follow that tunnel either to the Nolan's Cross, or if it does lead to the money pit, which they think a pathway, they're just going to follow this pathway to a doorway and go in there and find the Medora. You know what I mean, Judy?
Right. Would be nice.
You know, that's almost as bad as having the tackle box on top of the tree limb to lower the treasure into the money pit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Come here. This is where I put the treasure. So they go there. They put maybe a little bit of treasure there. They find it and leave. They don't go any deeper. Well, they've been going deeper for 200 and something years. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yep, it could be a thought, Anthony, that the cross is pointing to the treasure, but who knows? Yep, then, you know, the square, I thought they said that was just an outhouse dig, that square hole on Dave Blankenship's property. They investigated that, but they really didn't dig it out.
Right, you're right.
Josh Hollowarns on the YouTube side. Yes, money pit was for larger items, and then they sealed it on their way out. Yep, and Tammy always says it's under Fred Nolan's shed. Yep. Who knows? And I still say, you know, let's get into the eye of the swamp and go from there. You know what I mean, Judy?
Oh, I wish they would just dig there for sure. Hopefully they're going to do it this year.
There's where I want them to dig. You see that big nothing there? There's the eye of the swamp.
Yes.
That's what we want them to do. But yet, that might be in season 23. Did you like that one, Judy?
Yeah, really. I hope it's not that long, John.
We won't even be around.
There's that chance.
Yeah, there's that chance, but I don't know if I understand it. John, what? I'm 103. John, they found the treasure. Treasure? You mean my trousers? No. The treasure. They found the treasure. No, find my trousers. John, forget it. You don't know what I'm talking about. Oh. But it's just unbelievable. Our ideas and their ideas and what they show us and what they don't show us. And if the eye was disturbed, and this other picture I show about the dam, it says the dam on the map. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. Well, I'm going to take the number off here. And Judy, you can say your goodbyes, and then we'll hang up. And like I said, I'll post her synopsis up in about an hour or so on the Quest page. And take a look at it, detail it, and we'll see you next Tuesday, pre-show, at 7 o'clock. Go ahead, Judy.
Okay, guys, have a good week. I will certainly be here next week. Hope you all will too. And as always, stay safe. Please, I want you back next week.
Okay.
Bye, John.
Thank you so much, Judy, for your synopsis. Fantastic job as usual. We'll be talking to you soon.
Okay, thank you. Good night, all.
Chuck, did you want to make it short? Hold on. No problem. Justice, we're still here. If you want to call in, Chuck, call in now. Make it short. I'm getting pretty tired, so you'll be the last call. You got the number. I put the number up. Chunk. Hello, Chunk from Indiana.
Hey there, how you doing?
What's going on, my main man?
Hey, just hanging out with the family, thinking about Oak Island nonstop.
Yep. Did you get my?
Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah. Did you get my message about the elevation of 6 foot in Smith's Cove?
Yes, I did.
Very good.
So I was trying to. Excuse me. Thanks a lot for messaging back and jumping on it. After having this talk with my brother this morning, which we collaborate frequently, I had to message and find out and see what everybody's opinion was and figure out a couple of things, because I have a completely new theory that him and he kind of came up with one part and I finished it off and it all makes sense. And it's just, I want someone to shoot me down or not, basically. So I know if I need to keep spinning my wheels, because I'm kind of, I don't know. It was a little shocking.
All right.
We discussed it, and it could have been discussed before.
Just talk slower and give us your spiel. Go ahead. Just talk a little slower for me. Thank you.
Okay. So again, thanks a lot for having me. Okay. So as I know, over the years, it's been talked about that there was a ship that was brought in and it was intentionally sank and buried in the swamp, correct?
That's a theory, correct?
Okay. Has there ever been a theory that it wasn't intentional, but there's still a ship?
What do you mean?
Has that happened? Okay. Here's our thoughts. Okay. I mean, I'm familiar with a lot of it, but I've watched every minute, never missed this minute of Oak Island, period. I've forgotten a lot.
Okay.
Okay, because it's been going on. So what if this is what happened? What if, and I even been there, I went there 2 years ago on my 40th birthday, and it was amazing. I just love it. I want to go back.
Okay.
So what if, okay, yeah, there's obviously a pirate ship or a ship in the swamp. I mean, there's all these signs and everything's coming up and there's a ship, right? What if it wasn't intentional? What if it was the opposite? What if a ship came in and it had some sort of treasure, something significant within the ship, and it was unintentional because a fire caught out? Just think, right? I mean, why would you really sink a ship of that kind of value, whether it was empty or not? It's got some sort of value back then. That's their main transportation. It's like, why would they burn it? What if it was unintentional and it sank, and they say it's 50 feet down right now? Okay. What if it sank to the bottom of the ocean and all these people jump off and they're sitting on the land looking like, how do we get to the ship at the bottom of the ocean that's 50 feet down? Maybe it was only 40 back then because of the water levels, right? Back then, there's no other logical way to get to it besides dam it and fill it with dirt and dig to it. So if they wanted to dig to it, you would have to dig. You can't just fill it in and all of a sudden it's going to be dry and you could dig in it next year. That's not realistic. It's going to take a long time. So if they dammed it, how do you drain it? So you dam it because you know that the ship is here, it sank, you dam it. Now how do you drain the swamp? You dig a tunnel. You dig multiple tunnels trying to drain it. How do tunnels vent? Through the money pit. The money pit could possibly be a venting system, and it's like a cipher, like a siphon, I mean. And, you know, it has to gradually come out. That's why it goes all the way to Smith's Cove. Smith's Cove is actually below the depth to where it needs to be. And then you have to catch air for water to flow properly, just like when you flush your toilet. It's going to suck air from somewhere. It sucks it out your roof because your vents go all the way up and out the top, correct?
Yep.
So what if a tunnel had to be dug to drain the swamp back then all the way out to an area where it's not going to be seen? They wouldn't dig toward shore because if anybody was on mainland, they would have seen what was going on. So they dug a tunnel to the east towards Smith's Cove, all the coconut fiber, that whole area, that whole thing. You know what it is? It's a catch-all system. It catches anything from sucking it out to sea. And nothing has ever really been found significantly in that area because the treasure still sits sank in the swamp.
Well, what about
and there's multiple.
What about the lack of debris, the lack of stuff from the swamp? We find very, very little. If there was a ship sunk in there and it is stuck in the mud or whatever, the clay or whatever, we find what? One board, one nail. We would find a lot more debris if there was a ship down there.
Not if it sank 40 feet below the water. Let's just say 40 feet because it's only down 6 feet 500 years ago. But let's just say 40. If it sank 40 feet to the bottom of the ocean floor, there's no realistic way to get to it unless you bury it with dirt and can dig down to it. So then it's buried. It's the whole thing is there. It caught fire, obviously. Not intentionally, sank, but buried, but over the years of digging, trying to get back to it, only little parts and pieces of it came up over a period of time, which is all we've seen is parts and pieces.
But Chunk, they know the anomalies between 10 feet and 50 feet deep right now. They know that. They did do a drilling program on a floating drilling platform over the anomaly. The drill bits brought up nothing. Explain that.
They brought up what?
The drill bits brought up nothing. They drilled the anomaly in the swamp. They know it's 10 or 50 foot deep. They had a floating drill platform floating on the swamp, which they drilled a drilling program trying to find a ship in there. We found nothing.
Okay, so, but the sonar detected there is something of that.
It could be a differentiation of soil going from sand to blue clay to gravel to soil. It could be a differentiation.
It could be.
But that's what the drill.
If they're actually giving us true data, visual that they see. Like when I was there for my birthday, I seen them setting all the dynamite up in that area. They were getting ready to do all those.
Yep.
It wouldn't look so defined if that's actual. I know History Channel might buff it up a little bit, obviously.
Yep.
But, if there was some sort of serious anomaly like that, And just say, I mean, just think to a ship sink, and then if that's the case, and then all of a sudden you got to fill it with dirt or try to drain it the best you can, and then fill it with dirt. That's a lot of moisture. That's a lot that will rot that stuff out super quick, and it's not going to dry fast.
Right. But also, if they have an anomaly that's 10 or 50 foot deep and you put a drilling platform over it, of course they're going to go farther than 50. Maybe they would drill, to play it safe, 100 feet. You know what I mean, Chunk?
Yeah. Okay.
And they came up with nothing. They came up with zero. No gold pieces, no charcoal. If the ship is burnt, or if it was just sunk, we came up with no ship wood, and we came up with no charcoal if it was burnt. Yeah, we come up with a piece of metal. Well, this was burnt bad. We come up with a brace, and I tell people all the time, if I had a swamp on my property and there was farmland on my property, you know where all my junk would go? Would throw it all into the swamp. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. Well, I know I've always I've been trying to figure it out for years.
I hear you.
Like all of us. But when I had that talk with my brother this morning, thinking about it, the opposite of what we've always been told, what we've always thought, which is a ship would sink intentionally. What if it was the opposite? It just really hit me like, wow, it totally makes sense. But yes, I agree with you. If it's there, they're going to pull up some information. They're going to pull up parts and pieces of some sort of.
Yeah, you know how big them ships were? I even got a picture. Those ships were huge. You know what I mean?
Right. But again, it could just be wood, and they're pulling it up and they don't even know it because it's so rotted because the moisture level over 500 years.
Right.
Unless they hit it nail on the head to where the coin, gold or some sort of material that's not going to decompose.
Right. You can be off 6 inches. You can be off 6 inches and have nothing. And then the next 6 inches, you can have the jackpot. I understand that, But right now, that's what the show's about. I thank you for calling in, Chunk. And anytime you want to say anything on my group, go ahead, print it up, and let the members decide on themselves. Well, I thank you so much for calling in, Chunk.
Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, have a nice evening. I appreciate all you do. Take care, okay?
Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, guys, that's it for tonight. I'm shot. I hope you guys all had a good night tonight. But remember, always go forward. You may get a setback, but don't let that deter you. You go forward. You believe in your dreams no matter how old you are. Go for it. It don't matter. You stay positive. Stay on the positive side. Be mentally strong if you can. If you can't, there's a lot of help out there to help you out and maintain a good mental status. Again, stay safe, stay positive, and good night. We'll see you Tuesday pre-show. We only got 2 or 3 shows left. So I'll be with you guys Tuesday pre-show at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I thank everybody for coming in. I thank everybody on the Quest side. I thank everybody on the Facebook side. I thank Judy, Renee, Daniel, Michelle, and Tammy who keep the show going. Thank you so much. And